call them sermons, people call them speeches. I have no...
For decades, Joel Osteen has been the face of modern American faith, a smiling preacher of positivity, wealth, and hope. His sermons fill arenas, his books top bestseller lists, and his words echo weekly across television screens worldwide. But behind the polished image of optimism, Lakewood Church, the empire he built, is now facing questions of trust, direction, and integrity. The story of Joel Osteen is not simply one of success and scandal. It's a study in how faith, fame, and fortune can lift a man to extraordinary heights and then test him in ways few could endure. A legacy born from struggle. Joel Osteen was born on March 5, 1963, in Houston, Texas, into a family already anchored in faith. His father, John Osteen, had left behind a traditional Baptist ministry to found Lakewood Church in a converted feed store, joined by his wife, Dodie. The family's message was one of miracles and healing, rooted in their own pain. When Joel's sister, Lisa, was born with severe disabilities, the Osteens turned to prayer and faith instead of despair. That reliance on divine strength would define them. By the time Joel reached adulthood, Lakewood was already growing fast, driven by his father's charisma and his mother's quiet resilience. The reluctant heir. While his siblings pursued their own paths, Joel gravitated toward media. After attending Oral Roberts University for a brief period, he returned home to launch Lakewood's television ministry in 1982. He wasn't interested in preaching then. He wanted to make his father's sermons look and sound as powerful on screen as they felt in person. Behind the camera, Joel built the modern image of Lakewood, turning it into one of the first truly global megachurches. For nearly 2 decades, he edited, directed, and produced, content with being the man behind the lens, until one quiet January Sunday in 1999, when his father asked him to preach. 6 days later, John Osteen died unexpectedly, and Joel's first sermon became the last his father ever heard. Taking the pulpit in June 1999, Joel officially became senior pastor. With no seminary degree or formal training, he stepped into shoes many thought he couldn't fill. But the results were staggering. His messages of hope, self-worth, and perseverance connected with millions disillusioned by fear-based preaching. By 2004, Lakewood Church's weekly attendance had tripled to nearly 30,000, making it the largest congregation in the country. When the church moved into the former Compaq Center, the same arena where the Houston Rockets once played, it symbolized a shift in American religion itself. Church as spectacle, worship as experience. Joel's stage presence, the sweeping camera shots, and the inspirational tone felt more like a concert than a sermon. Building the empire under Osteen's leadership, Lakewood spent nearly $95 million renovating the Compaq Center into a sprawling house of worship. The design was modern, luxurious, and visually stunning, complete with media suites, indoor waterfalls, and a massive broadcast system. The church purchased the building outright in 2010, securing its home for decades to come. At the same time, Joel's message of prosperity was spreading far beyond Houston. His 2004 book, Your Best Life Now, became an international phenomenon, selling over 4 million copies and spending years on bestseller lists. To his followers, Joel represented possibility. A pastor who believed that faith wasn't about guilt or judgment, but about believing for more. Fortune, family, and faith. Joel and his wife, Victoria, have built a partnership that's as personal as it is professional. They met in Houston in 1985 and married 2 years later. Over nearly 4 decades, Victoria has evolved from behind-the-scenes support to co-pastor and author, leading Lakewood's women's ministry and writing her own best-selling book, Love Your Life. Together, they've raised 2 children, Jonathan and Alexandra, who now lead worship and music for the church's younger audiences. The family's message of positivity continues through them, creating a generational brand that blends faith, family, and entertainment. The cost of success. With success came scrutiny. Joel's decision to stop taking a salary from Lakewood in 2005 didn't silence critics, who who point out that his personal net worth, largely from books and speaking engagements, is estimated at $50 to $100 million. The Osteen family's 17,000-square-foot Houston mansion has become a lightning rod for controversy, with some accusing him of hypocrisy for preaching simplicity while living lavishly. But Joel remains unapologetic. He insists the blessing in his life is proof of God's goodness, not greed. Still, the debate has never gone away, because in the court of public opinion, wealth and worship make an uneasy pair. When the waters rose. In August 2017, Hurricane Harvey devastated Houston. As floodwaters consumed the city, Lakewood's doors stayed closed, sparking outrage online. Critics accused Osteen of abandoning those in need. Hashtags like Open Lakewood Church trended worldwide. The church later opened as a shelter, explaining that early reports of flooding had delayed their response. For many, though, the damage was done. The moment became symbolic. A test of compassion that, fairly or not, Joel failed in the eyes of the public. In the years since, Lakewood has worked to repair its image through community service and disaster relief. When Hurricane Beryl struck in 2025, the church immediately opened to the public, handing out supplies and meals. But the shadow of Harvey lingers as a lesson in how quickly faith leaders can lose public trust. Trials of faith and security. Lakewood's openness, its size, accessibility, and prominence has also made it vulnerable. In February 2024, tragedy struck when a gunman opened fire at the church, injuring several and shocking the nation. Joel addressed the congregation days later, urging faith over fear and calling for healing. The event exposed broader challenges that all large places of worship now face: how to remain welcoming while keeping people safe. It also reignited discussions about mental health, gun laws, and how faith communities should respond to trauma. For Joel, it was a test not just of leadership, but of compassion in the face of horror. Financial storms and public perception. Lakewood's image took another hit during the pandemic when reports surfaced that the church received a $4.4 million federal Paycheck Protection Program loan meant for small businesses. Critics questioned why a megachurch with vast revenue streams would need taxpayer aid. The church later repaid the loan in full, clarifying that none of the money went to Joel or Victoria personally. Still, the controversy added to growing skepticism about the blurred line between ministry and enterprise in modern megachurch culture. The family behind the faith. Through it all, the Osteen family has remained remarkably united. Their children, Jonathan and Alexandra, are carving their own identities as musicians and worship leaders. Victoria continues to write, speak, and guide Lakewood's women's ministry. And Joel's late mother, Dodie, who passed away in 2025 at age 91, remains a spiritual cornerstone in the church's history. Her story of surviving terminal cancer through faith continues to inspire generations of believers. In his tribute, Joel called her the heart of Lakewood. And in many ways, her legacy of quiet strength remains the foundation beneath his ministry's noise and controversy. The gospel under fire. Despite ongoing criticism, Joel's message remains consistent. He doesn't preach judgment. He preaches possibility. His detractors call it cotton candy theology, sweet but shallow. But for his millions of followers, his words are nourishment, not fluff. In an age where cynicism often wins, Osteen's relentless optimism stands out. Whether on Good Morning America, in an arena, or on YouTube, his message hasn't changed. You can rise higher. You can overcome. To some, that's faith diluted. To others, it's faith made practical. The Osteen legacy in question today. Lakewood Church faces its toughest era yet. Attendance has dipped since the pandemic. Donations have slowed. And the public, once enthralled, now views celebrity pastors with increasing skepticism. Still, Joel presses on, smiling, standing tall under bright lights, delivering sermons about gratitude and grace. Perhaps what makes his story compelling isn't perfection, it's endurance. He has weathered storms of criticism, moments of moral testing, and the pressures of leading one of the largest congregations in the world. Faith, humanity, and what comes next. Joel Osteen's journey is both inspiring and instructive. It reminds the world that charisma can build an empire, but character must sustain it. His life is a paradox, part preacher, part businessman, part motivational figure. His influence, whether praised or condemned, is undeniable. Lakewood Church may not be the same as it was 20 years ago, but its message of hope continues to resonate. Whether that message reflects divine truth or human aspiration depends on who's listening. What's certain is that Joel Osteen remains a reflection of his time, a pastor navigating fame, faith, and failure in the spotlight. Conclusion: beyond the spotlight. Joel Osteen has always said, "Choose faith over fear." That mantra has carried him through loss, controversy, and reinvention. Behind the smiles and the lights is a man who inherited both a mission and its burdens. A leader learning, perhaps like all of us, that faith is not about perfection but perseverance. His empire may be questioned, his theology debated, but his impact endures. Whether seen as a flawed visionary or a misunderstood optimist, Joel Osteen's story is ultimately about one thing: the fragile balance between believing in yourself and believing in something greater.